Welcome to another episode of Coach Booker Responds, where we don't just react to what's happening in education, we explore what it means, why it matters, and where we go from here. Because every challenge presents an opportunity for growth, every problem invites a solution, and every conversation has the power to create change. So let's get into today's response. This week, I had the opportunity to speak before the Chicago Board of Education during the public hearing on the proposed budget. Now, I only had 2 minutes. 2 minutes to speak on a $732 million budget deficit and offer ideas that I believe could strengthen our schools while protecting our educators. But there was one thought I couldn't stop thinking about after I left. I don't believe the biggest question is, which positions should we eliminate? I believe the bigger question is, have we explored every creative alternative before we reduce educator positions? As someone who represents the third generation of my family to serve Chicago Public Schools, and as someone who has spent more than 30 years in the profession, I've watched education evolve in ways I've never imagined. Teachers today are expected to be instructors, counselors, behavior specialists, technology coaches, social workers, family liaisons, crisis managers, and through it all, they're still expected to help students achieve academically. The profession has changed. The emotional demands have changed. The nervous system demands have changed, but one conversation hasn't changed enough: retirement. Here's the question I want us to think about. What if retirement wasn't viewed as the end of an educator's contribution? What if it became a transition into a different kind of service? During my public comments, I propose what I call the Legacy Educator Program. This idea is simple. If voluntary retirement incentives are available, what if veteran educators had the option to transition earlier while continuing to contribute a limited number of volunteer service hours each month or school year? Imagine those educators mentoring new teachers, supporting intervention programs, working with small groups of students, coaching future school leaders, sharing decades of experience that can't be found in a textbook instead of walking away with all of that knowledge. What if we intentionally keep that wisdom connected to our schools? I also encourage the district to think creatively through strategic natural attrition, operational efficiencies, calendar innovation like Track E, and stronger partnerships with nonprofit organizations. None of those ideas by themselves will solve a budget challenge of this size. I get it, but innovation doesn't begin with having every answer. It begins with asking better questions. And here's the question I really want us to wrestle with. Should Illinois rethink teacher retirement? Should Illinois rethink teacher retirement? Not by forcing anyone to retire, not by telling educators their career has an expiration date, but by recognizing that after decades of service, educators should have meaningful options. Some teachers will want to continue. Some teachers will want to continue teaching, and we should celebrate that. Others may be ready for a new season, and we should honor that too, because this isn't just about retirement. It's about sustainability. It's about retention. It's about protecting the people who have dedicated their lives to educating the next generation. And as someone who teaches about nervous systems, I can't ignore this truth. You can't continue asking people to pour from a nervous system that has been in survival mode for decades without eventually paying a price. That's not weakness. That's biology. And maybe, just maybe, the future of education isn't only about recruiting more teachers. It's also about creating better pathways for the teachers who have already given so much. So I'll leave you with this same question I posed to the board. Before we reduce educator positions, have we explored every creative alternative? Thank you for joining me for another episode of Coach Booker Responds. If today's conversation challenged your thinking or gave you a new perspective, I'd love to hear from you. Do you think Illinois should rethink teacher retirement? If so, what would you change? Leave your comments and your thoughts in the comments, because some of the best ideas begin with conversations like these. If this message resonated with you, share it with another educator, school leader, parent, or policymaker. Together, we can continue creating conversations that move education forward. Until next time, remember, regulate before you educate isn't just a phrase, it's a framework. Because when we support the well-being of educators, we strengthen the future of every student they serve. I'm Coach Booker, and I'll see you in the next response.